Welcome back to this lecture about match types. In this lecture, I will be telling you about what they are, how they are important, and actual examples for each of the different match types you can apply, and then you can do that yourself. This will give you the freedom to use these match types to make the best possible keywords for your ad. So what are match types? Match types are a way of telling Google how to interpret your keywords and how much freedom they have to show your words for different search queries. Now, match types are important because it can determine whether you give Google a lot of freedom to show your keyword, which may mean paying a lot for that keyword, and you keeping more control when it's shown, keeping it more targeted so it yields better results for you without having to pay a huge amount. So let's look right now at this table at the different kinds of match types that will trigger your ads. So this table here will present all of the match types, and we've got broad, broad match modified, phrase, exact, and negative keywords. Now along the top, if we go from left to right, we firstly talk about the symbols that you need to put with each keyword to tell Google what match type you're using, how that keyword looks with the symbol, and an example query that will trigger this keyword based on that match type. Okay, so let's firstly talk about a broad match type. So a broad match type will have no symbol, and the lack of symbol actually shows the lack of control you have. You're being less restricted with it, and Google are free to do more with it, make it appear for more searches, etc. For broad match modified, you have to put the plus sign before any keyword that you want appearing in the query. So in this example, I put plus Python space plus course. For phrase match, you enclose the keyword between two quotation marks. For exact match, you enclose the keyword between two brackets. And for negative keywords, you put the minus sign before the keyword you want removed if it is contained within the search query. So now let's look in detail at these match types. So firstly, broad match. Broad match means that your keyword will be activated in queries that are loosely based on your keyword. So my example is Python course. Now, if somebody types in Python courses at college or online courses or Monty Python, it gives Google the freedom to interpret Python course how they want. Now, this normally means you'll get more impressions because Google have the freedom to interpret it how they feel like. So it may be activated by a lot of searches, meaning that the click-through rate, if it's not relevant, will be much smaller. So if we go to broad match modified, this is a way of telling Google to include your terms in the search. So it must include Python, it must include course. Whereas the broad one was Python course, they don't actually have to include Python or course. So as I said, this could show up if somebody types in online course. But for broad match modified, what you're saying is, it's a broad match, but I do want it based on Python and course. So if somebody puts Monty Python, it probably not be triggered because it says course. Course must be in there, and it's highly unlikely you're going to see a Monty Python course. Basically, a broad match modified keyword gives Google less freedom to interpret your keyword and make sure that you have less irrelevant search queries triggering your keyword. But at the same time, it can appear with terms completely irrelevant to the product you're trying to sell. So if I use Python course, it may be activated by people looking for free Python course or how to handle a Python snake course, which obviously would not be useful to me. So in short, I'm telling Google not to be so loose with the terms in there. But I'm not being strict enough that I'm going to get 100% relevant searches. So if we go down to phrase keywords now, phrases are a way of telling Google to include my keywords in the exact order that they are searched for. So if somebody types in course on Python, it won't appear in this search because I want it to appear as Python course. So they have to put it in that order. But this does leave room for interpretation. So if somebody types in Python course snakes or Python course at local college, my keywords could be activated and bring my ad up. So you can see there is a greater level of control, especially if I used more words such as Python course online, because it means Google has to activate it only when that order is searched for. However, as you can see, there is still a risk to irrelevant searches being activated. For instance, Python course at college. So as long as you use the correct combination of keywords, you are reducing that risk. So let's move down to exact match. So this is the highest level of control that you can take with keywords and gives Google the least amount of control. So exact match will only show search queries done with the exact wording and order with no words before or after. So my ad will only come up if somebody searches Python course. It's activated by the exact query. Now this is really good in terms of ensuring the highest level of relevance. However, it doesn't mean that you should only ever use exact matches. And the reason why is because restricting Google's control is one thing, but being very rigid in what can trigger your ad could also leave opportunities on the table. So if somebody put Python course Udemy or buy Python course, my keywords won't allow my ad to be shown unless I put those exact keywords within the brackets. So there is a risk of relevant searches not activating your keyword. But as long as you put more exact searches, so if I put Python course Udemy as an exact search, or I put buy Python course as an exact search along with Python course, then it reduces that risk. Negative keywords. Now negative keywords removes keywords from the query. So if I type in -free, then anybody who searches for free Python course will not activate my course because I have told Google to take away. If I put -Monty and somebody searched for Monty Python, the word Monty wouldn't show. If I put -snake, then Python snakes cannot show. Another way in which negative keywords are really good is if you remove certain keywords when a search query is too broad. So let's say I used a broad match and I just used the words Python. Naively, I could assume Google will only find me people interested in Python programming. However, it is likely that they will trigger my ad if someone searches for Python snakes or Monty Python, which would really harm my click-through rate because people would see my ad but not click it. Now you can actually use a negative keyword in combination with an exact match. So you can see here in the examples that I've put -Monty, -snake. This means my ad will definitely not show if anybody makes a search on Monty Python or Python snakes, which are probably the other main Python types out there. So if you're using a broad match for your keyword, using negative keywords in combination with an exact match is a way of reducing completely irrelevant search queries that could activate your keyword. So that explains the different match types. Now, if you've already started a campaign and you want to change some of your match types, this is how you do it. So using this one as an example, if you click into the keyword and put yes, I understand, it brings up this little drop-down menu next to the keyword that you're editing. So what you could do is you can see this is a broad match type. So you can change that to either an exact match or a phrase match. So there we are. I hope that this shows you that there are ways in which you can improve the chances of your keywords showing for the right query. There are advantages and disadvantages with all of these types, so this should encourage you to use a variation of all and see how these work for you. But fundamentally, I hope that these different match types removes a lot of the pain that you might experience from the process of doing Google AdWords. So I hope that this helped, and I'll see you in the next lecture.